Hey everybody, stay tuned. At the end, I've got a little anecdote about. I used to be quite the addict for a good many years, and I had an encounter that just held a mirror up to my former self. And it was really reassuring. It was sad to see somebody else going through that. But, anyway, so we'll talk afterwards. Today, what needs to be discussed is really important, and I urge you, please like, share, and subscribe. I rarely remember to say that. When I do, it's usually because I think what I have to say is pretty important. We are seeing a huge psyop happen in women, and what's really concerning is that women across alleged aisles, supposed aisles like left and right, are agreeing that Lindsay Clancy should be found not guilty, even if she and killed her kids. I'm not gonna fucking censor myself. I'm sorry. I just can't do it, okay? I'm constitutionally incapable of censoring myself for money. I just can't do it. And that's why I always get fired. But, that being said, that's not even the biggest problem. What this is doing, and I've spoken before on my channel about how everything negative in our lives is accomplished through incrementalism. People get used to a small change every two years. A certain aspect of their lives is made worse. It's just as an example, and people adapt to that, and then 2 years later it gets worse again. But see, we don't measure temperature objectively. So here's a really good example. Our skin measures temperature change. For instance, when you are in a hot tub and you cool the tub off with cold water, the water splits. Okay? The top becomes hot and the bottom becomes cold because heat rises. But then the top of the tub, that hot water feels hotter because that cold water is colder. Feels hotter. The hot water then feels hotter than it did when it was just all hot water. Okay, so our ability to adapt to situations also works like that. Now, how does this tie into Lindsay Clancy? Well, this ties in because over the past decade, we've been inundated by this pro-choice nonsense about how women should have the right to choose to murder babies, which is absolutely abhorrent. It's child sacrifice, Sure, they'll use rape babies as their scapegoats, but that's never really what they want. They want choice. They want freedom from responsibility and freedom from accountability. And now what is happening is that it is breaching the point. It is breaching the womb. So abortion has been acceptable as long as you can't see the baby on the outside, because then that would trigger your fucking conscience, wouldn't it? But now we've got thousands and thousands of women cheering for Lindsay Clancy and interpretive dancing about it. What the fuck is this insanity? Men, this goes out to you, okay? I'm done. You should be done too. Man, what have we let women do? We've let women ruin our country, ruin our families, ruin themselves, all to keep them happy, all for equality, but they don't want equality at all. They want the right to murder your offspring with impunity. Now, think about this. Why is it that if a man kills a woman and a pregnant woman, he gets charged with 2 murders, right? Because they admit in those circumstances that babies are human, even in utero, which they clearly are, because I'm a human, was once a baby, was once in utero, and I was not a different species when I was in utero. I was just a much smaller version of myself. Much uglier, too. So, it's, and here's the other issue. From what I can tell, at least 50% of police forces are female. And that's a problem. And I don't give a fuck if you have a problem with me calling women females, because I'm a male. Male and female. That's what humans are, and you're just gonna deal with it or you're gonna click off. And if you click off, bye, fine. I just don't have time for this anymore. And here's the problem with so many female cops is that they can't physically apprehend, not that I think they should be doing anyway, but they can't physically apprehend a man. They can't. And so their only recourse is violence, like deadly violence. And we've seen this time and again. Amber Geiger, just as one. Man, she was in somebody else's house and murdered him and got like 5 years for it. That's insane. If I did that, I'd be put away for life. So what we have now is a female-led society that is absolutely tanking. It's absolutely tanking, and you and I as men, we can choose a couple of options. We can continue to do what we've done and go along to get along, happy wife, happy life bullshit, or we can be men and take back our motherfucking country from these witches. Because I'm done, man. They lie, they manipulate, okay? And I'm sorry, but women don't have the same ability to rationalize conscience as men do, most women. And I'm not going to keep doing this, but not all women thing. Obviously, no subset of people is 100% the same as the rest of that subset. So let's just move on from that. But women and men operate differently, and what I see happening is over the last 15 years, and this could be correlation, maybe not causation, but I'm gonna say it's causation. Over the last 15 years, the more women that have gone into the government and into positions of authority and into leadership roles and power over men, the more tyrannical our government has been. The more violent our society has gotten. And, hey turkeys. How much more, man? How much more do we, I think the biggest fault of most men these days is complacency and the ability to slough off responsibility, social responsibility, and community responsibility onto so-called authorities. There are no fucking authorities, man. That's fucking imaginary. these so-called authorities that you have put into positions of power are largely really stupid and largely crave power and are only going to trample on those they claim to serve. How much longer are we going to let our public servants call themselves public servants, yet treat us like slaves? How much longer? How much longer are you going to sit back and accept people going to prison for years and years and years over shit that has no victim? How much longer? And when you are too old to fight for yourself, who the fuck is going to fight for you? It's now or never. It's now or never. We need to just fucking say no. Just say no. We don't have to put up with that shit. We are the government, okay? If we be it, we are it, because it is imaginary. Right now, we imagine, or most people imagine, that there's this external group called the government. But the second we, the people, say, you know what, it's my responsibility, and own that burden, and own that obligation, and all that comes with it, the second we do that, we become free. And it's going to take a lot of people realizing that we have to depend on our neighbors. You know, instead of calling 911 when there's an emergency, call your neighbor's phone. Have your neighbor come over and defend your house with you. We don't need them. We have been lied to and coerced into being forced to take their servitude. But if we are forced to take the servitude of a rogue government, they are not the servants. We are. And I know that there's not a lot of people that think like me, but there's enough. There are enough. It doesn't take the whole country, because most of the country just wants to go along to get along. All it takes is a few people, enough people to be loud. It takes enough noise to realize it. And what are they going to do? What are they going to do? They've outsourced all of their force to women. And those women are not going to fight us, man. They're going to go home. Because what they're doing is cosplaying. You understand that? They're cosplaying men. It's their feminist wet dream. But the second there's actual pushback, they're gone. They're going to go home, and they're going to go make some fucking cookies. And I'm sorry if this sounds misogynistic. It's not. But I'll tell you something. I've been living in a very, very misandric society for the last decade. And I'm done. I'm done, because I've watched my children get absolutely shit on by the courts just because I have a dangler in my pants. I'm objectively the better parent. Just objectively the better parent. And yet she's given decision making by a female judge. And then a female judge doesn't investigate the abuse in her home, but they investigate me for yelling about the abuse. See how that works? It's a fucking feminist cult. And I've never been a part of it, but I'm vocally stating I am stepping away. Okay, I'm not a part of your cult. I have no part of it. And I urge man, I'm going to lose a lot of subs, aren't I? I don't really care. You know why? Because the truth is more important. Now, all that being said, women are wonderful. I and many other men I know would absolutely give our lives for the women in our lives. I absolutely would. But just like I would not make a good kindergarten teacher. Look at me. I would not make a good kindergarten teacher. Just objectively. And for those same reasons, women don't make good cops, don't make good judges, don't make good leaders. And that's okay. What we got to realize is that there is a place in society for everybody, and it's important to find your place and to inhabit that place. My place, isn't as a laborer. My place has never been as a laborer. Yet that's kind of what I've been channeled into just by life events. But if I had it my way, man, my way would be just bringing joy to people with my music. I would love nothing more than to just walk around town and put a smile on people's faces by playing music. We got to get back to the way things used to be. And my anecdote. So, told you to stick around. Like, share, and subscribe if you've made it this far. I hate the fact that I say that, but I've had this neighbor who's had me make trips to the grocery store for her vodka lately, and she's just playing all of the same tricks on me that I played on others when I was a junkie. And it's sad to see, but it has helped me stay centered. And I hope you all have a wonderful afternoon.